WIBTA if I divorce my husband just for asking to be polyamorous? This is really upsetting to me on all accounts, and I'm getting mixed opinions from the few real-life people I've talked to about it, so I could use the advice of total strangers. I, 26F, and my husband, 27M, have been married for just over a year and together for 4. We spent a long time before getting married talking about what we wanted out of being married, so I thought we were on the same page about all the important things. I do love him very much. He is sweet, helpful, and generally my dream partner until last week. Out of the blue, he sat down one night and said he wanted to talk about something. I thought it was just something minor he was frustrated about or a bad day at work or something. Instead, he talked about how he found out that his best guy friend and his wife are polyamorous. He and his friend have been talking about it more and he thinks he might like to try it and wondered what I thought. I felt instantly sick to my stomach. We've always had a great sex life and he's never given me any reason to think he was interested in anyone else. I told him that I'm not interested in being in a polyamorous relationship. I want to be monogamous with him for the rest of my life. If it had stopped there, I don't think it would have gotten so bad, but then he asked if I would read about it and then decide. I said no, I already know how I feel about it. He asked if I would at least think about it, and for some reason that just did something to me. Like instant revulsion, kind of upset. I got up and told him that I was too upset to keep talking and that I needed some space, so I would sleep in the guest room that night and we could talk later. Ever since that night, I have the biggest ick anytime I see him. He keeps trying to backtrack, but I know he meant what he said about wanting to be polyamorous. It's not so much that he brought it up, it's the 2 other asks after I already said I would never be comfortable with it. It's like that didn't matter to him, he thought he could convince me, and it makes me feel awful. What else is he going to pressure me about if I say no? And if he already wants to sleep with someone else, how can I ever trust him not do it behind my back? I'm still sleeping in the guest room and I'm thinking of just asking for a divorce now when it would be simpler to divide everything up and go our separate ways instead of waiting until years down the line when I get my heart broken. He could go do whatever he wants and I could find someone who just wants a good solid monogamous relationship with me. The idea is killing me, but I feel like it's going to hurt now no matter what I do. While I do still love him, I don't think I can ever unhear and unsee my husband asking me for an open relationship, and the idea of him touching me makes me feel ill. He's upset and frustrated that I'm punishing him for asking a question, but I honestly don't know what he expected to happen. There is a part of me that thinks maybe divorcing him is being overdramatic, but also, the ick is so strong that I don't have much hope of getting back to where we were. WIBTA? Edit. Gosh, this got a lot of replies. I'm reading through them as best I can. I'm going to take the advice to get an STI test, and my gyno is going to work me in today for that. I don't think he would physically cheat, but better safe than sorry. I do think there is probably someone he's interested in, possibly his friend's wife or maybe even his friend. He's never expressed being bisexual, but that doesn't mean he isn't. I don't know them very well, so I can't speculate on their role in all of this. I'm going to be charitable and assume there are no machinations from their end and he just picked this up from his friend and ran with it. I want to be clear that I am not ignoring him. We can talk about whatever else is going on, but I'm not ready to continue this conversation with him and he knows that. I want to be calm for that, and his behavior is not really conducive to a sense of calm right now. Every time he brings it up makes me a little more disgusted with him, but he seems intent on digging the hole instead of letting things settle. That and not taking the first no for an answer is a bigger issue than the poly ask for me. I think I'm going to meet with a lawyer just to go over options. At this point, I don't have a lot of faith in counseling changing how I feel about him now, but I would be willing to try a few sessions to say we gave it a shot. I'll throw that out there tonight and see what he says. Edit 2, he doesn't think counseling is necessary, he just wants to go back to the way things were before bringing it up. I've told him that's not an option, you can't unbreak a bone, it has to heal instead. I asked him if he had someone in mind and he said no, but he's not a very good liar and I don't really believe him. He says it was just an idea and there's no one and nothing has happened, but he also doesn't want to show me the messages between him and his friend so I can understand the content of the conversation they had. I will respect his choice, but it's enough to convince me that there's something he's hiding even if it's not an affair in progress, and that's a problem. I've got an appointment with a lawyer in a few days. I'm going to wait until after that to make a decision, and I'm going to take a short trip alone to see my grandparents this weekend to get some fresh air and perspective. I'll try to update next week after all the test results come back and I've had a chance to look at all the facts with a professional. Thank you for kind support and advice.
Relevant comment. Blood money morality. NTA. Polyamory is other relationships, not just open sex. And men oftentimes overestimate their value and ability to get other partners. They also tend to already have someone in mind when asking. Prairie Firesk. And they also tend to get quite jealous when their wife starts having relationships with other men. Catanamianly. I have a lot of poly in my circle of friends. After being with my husband for 24 years, we have discussed it. While we find it interesting and works for our friends, though not without some drama, we ultimately decided it was better to water our own lawns instead. We were at a friend's house for dinner and another guest brought up a similar situation she was in and asking our poly friend Chuck his take. His answer was, look him in the eyes and ask him, are you really okay with kissing me goodnight when I had another man's stick in my mouth? Do you want me to tell you about it? Because this is what you are asking for. If you want to be super petty, start a free online dating profile. Then after you tell him this, let him look through all the DMs. NTA, it's really hard to come back from an ick. I would get your ducks in order and then make a decision if you want to stay, separate, divorce. At least you have a backup plan.
Update. A lot of people wanted an update and I've made some difficult decisions. I took advice from the thread and got an STI panel done. Fortunately, it came back clear. I suggested counseling, but my husband does not think it's necessary. I doubt it will change my feelings, so I'm not going to push for it. He is being overly protective of his phone after I asked to see a message conversation between him and his poly friend to understand the context of the situation. I would not violate his privacy, but there clearly is something he doesn't want me to see and that's enough. It doesn't matter to me anymore whether there is something already in progress or just the desire for there to be. The shadiness of his behavior tells me what I need to know. I've been tempted to contact his friends directly to get their take, but in the event there is infidelity happening, I would rather not burden myself with the details, to be honest. I had a heart-to-heart with my grandparents this weekend and spoke with a lawyer yesterday. As of right now, I'm planning to move forward with the divorce. With no kids and no joint property or debt since we were waiting on buying a house till I'm finished with residency, it should be easy to split the financials. The lease on our apartment is up in a couple of months anyway, so I plan to move out after breaking the news and just pay my portion of the rent on the current place until its renewal time. I'm heartbroken, but I'm convinced that this is the best move. I don't trust him anymore. I'm repulsed by his behavior since the ask, and I think it's best to cut our losses before digging the hole deeper. If he was willing to be transparent and do something to work on re-establishing trust, it would be different, but that's not the case and I don't want to put in effort that he's not interested in putting in. I will be fine with time. So, yeah, not a happy ending, but I think it's in my best overall interest and, if he's not happy with monogamy a year into marriage, his best interest as well. Hopefully, we can part ways quietly and without a lot of fuss.
Relevant comments. Good_narwhal_420. You don't think this is a happy ending right now, but future you is gonna be so glad you left. Music_with_rocks_in. Man, I would love to hear his response to knowing he set fire to his whole life. Bet he's willing to go to counseling once divorce is on the table. That's what my STBX husband did and he was shocked to learn that the window for it had passed. And what do you mean I can't just go back and undo that massive mistake I made? Missamar 1246. That's the new favorite fad, immediately scheduling therapy or counseling when the partner walks or when they get caught cheating. Personally, that would be insult to injury to me and all the more reason to dump them. Someone running to therapy because they realize your walking is being disingenuous, they're just fumbling for a delay. The time to do it honestly was before the fallout happened.